I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only
What's
one.
up, everybody? Welcome to my channel.
No one
I'm
likes being
Sunshinery. Make
lied
sure
to.
to subscribe and like this video.
You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Finally, Rachel has put out chapter 14 this week, and it is called Rachel's Naming Names. Uh-oh. Rachel's gonna start naming names. We all better be scared. The show notes also say, acting like this was the big dirty secret isn't actually the truth. People knew. Plus, Rachel responds to Jax, saying she's not welcome in the valley. So guys, let's not waste any time. Make sure to like this video. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to my channel and have your notifications set to all. All right, let's get into it.
Welcome to another episode of Rachel Goes Rogue. This is your host, Rachel Savannah Leviss, and today I just want to rant a little bit. I just watched episode 8 of Vanderpump Rules, and I have some thoughts and opinions that I would like to share. But before we get into the episode, I would like to just clear the air a little bit because, well, I suspect that people now know that some of our mutual friends have known about this affair while it was going on. I kind of just want to clear the air on who those people were and whether or not I know for certain that they knew, but there were instances where it was pretty undeniable. So let's go through that list. Obviously, number one is Schwartz. He has known from the very beginning, and we already know that because I've already dropped that bomb. But maybe people don't realize or have suspected, but Kyle Chan has also known, and Kyle Chan has been a good friend of Tom's for quite some time, and he was one of the people that was trying to talk some sense into Tom, but he also kept that secret for him. I just feel like it's a little bit of a double standard to be icing out a certain person for knowing, yet Kyle Chan is still accepted into the group without any consequences. Just throwing that out there. The reason why I bring that up is because, as we know, the last episode that the cast filmed in San Francisco was for Kyle Chan's party, and nobody seems to have an issue with Kyle knowing.
Well, damn, she came out the gate hot. But let's go over this. So Rachel is saying that we are now aware that people knew the entire time of this affair, and she's going to name names. This is what she's talking about when she says she's going to name names. Okay, so the first name she names was Tom Schwartz. Now we have to remember, she also said this is according to what she knows and what she thinks that people knew the entire time. So that means, say Tom said, well, I told Schwartz the entire time. That is her knowing that Tom said that to her, but she does not know that for a fact that Schwartz knew the entire time. I'm not saying that he didn't, because I do believe that he knew of the first hookup when it happened. I do believe that he thought his friend was, it was a one-time thing. It wasn't going to happen again. And then he slowly but surely saw his friend was falling in love with this person. And it was much more than he had assumed of this one-time ordeal. And we do know that in January they went to Big Bear, and it was, Schwartz, Sandoval, Joe, and Rachel. So Schwartz knew whether he was trying to save ass for his friend or not. Schwartz knew. I don't believe he knew the entire time, but I do believe that he knew a majority of the time. And this is not me trying to cover his ass. Kyle Chan. Now, with Kyle Chan, we know that the final episode, it revolves around a big event, and Scheana sings her Good as Gold, new Screamo song, all of that. Just because she thinks that people are okay with Kyle Chan knowing does not mean they are okay with him knowing. We have not seen Ariana talk to him. We've barely seen anybody talk to him besides Sandoval and Schwartz. And what? Scheana said a couple words here and there to him. Really, that was it. That does not make it that they think it's okay that he knew the entire time. In my opinion, they're kind of just icing him out like they are icing Sandoval out. Like, oh, you knew, you covered his ass? Well, then I don't want to be your friend either. Because that just proves to me that you would sit there and lie to my face for him knowing what he was doing. I'm sorry, I can't have that as a friend, and I don't think Ariana deserves it, let alone anyone else in the group. It does suck because Kyle is an intricate part of the show in many ways. I mean, let's be real, everyone's engagement ring was made by Kyle Chan. So, like, he's been a part of this show, and I don't think that they were going to be like, oh, well, Kyle Chan's big event, we're not going to go because he knew the entire time. It could have been a contracted thing with Vanderpump Rules that they had to do that. We don't know. But for her to assume that everybody is okay with Kyle and Kyle knew the entire time is her assuming. That's only what it is. Her assumptions. And as we know, she has not talked to anybody, not even motherfucking Sandoval. So how does she know to assume this? She doesn't. Anyways, that's just my thoughts and opinions so far. Let me know what you guys think down below. Am I crazy? Like, I think that she is just overly thinking this too much and thinking that people are okay with people when reality is they're not.
Next, Jason Bader is Tom Sandoval's drummer and band manager. You have seen him on Tom Sandoval's podcast. He has also known, it just goes to the double standard of Tom was allowed to tell his best friends, but I wasn't allowed to tell anybody. And if I did, he was not happy with me. So just a reminder to everyone, that is not love. All right, next, Max Boyens. I don't know the extent of what he knew about the affair, but Max Boyens was one of the people that we would meet up with regularly at one of the dive bars by Tom Sandoval's house. And, he didn't ask any questions, but it was an often thing that we would meet up. And it would be hard for me to think that he didn't have an inkling of knowledge that this was going on.
So then we have good old Jason, which we already knew that Jason knew about the affair. Who the fuck is friends with Jason besides Sandoval? Literally. So, of course, he's gonna have his fucking friend's ass. Jason? You named Jason, of all people. Jesus. Like, oh my gosh. And listen, she could have told any of her friends if she felt that, like, he would get mad at her if she went and told one of her friends. That's a red flag. You should have said, red flag. Oh my God, I can't tell any of my friends what's going on, but this motherfucker can. You should have got away then. You should have thought to yourself, something ain't right. These are the clues you should have picked up on, and I'm not trying to be mean at all, because I understand sometimes when there's a red flag in your face, you don't necessarily always see it. Next on her list, though, she has Max Boyens, which, if you don't remember Max was part of Vanderpump Rules. I believe he's like the manager, or was the manager for Tom Tom. I don't believe he is anymore from everything that we've seen. But who the fuck talks to Max? Who literally talks to Max anymore? We don't hear about Max. We don't see Max. He's not even part of the friends of Vanderpump. So who the fuck talks to Max? And if there are people talking to Max, like, say, I don't know, Katie talks to Max, or Dana, who is friends with Katie, talks to Max, and Max didn't tell them, damn then. But like she also said, and I want to point this out, she said, I don't understand how he wouldn't have known, seeing what he saw. We don't know what Max saw. Max might have just saw some flirting going on. Maybe he didn't see anything physical going on. You can't assume that the guy knew if you don't even know what he saw or not. That's just my opinion. My opinion, though, and my gut probably is that he did have a fucking inkling of what was going on and just didn't say anything because he probably didn't know what to fucking say. Who would know what to say about this, especially if he's close to Tom and not close to Ariana? There aren't as many good people in this world as we choose to want to believe. And though we believe there are still some good people out there, there are wonderful people out there. When it comes to hard predicament situations like breaking up a 9-year relationship, you kind of are like, do I get involved? Do I stay out of it? Is this my business? Is this not my business? That is a hard choice to make, and none of us would know what we would do unless we are faced in that situation. So I can't say that if he knew that he should have said something or not, because we don't know how close he is to Ariana. Clearly, we know he's probably closer to Tom than Ariana, but we don't know. So those are just my thoughts. Let's see who other names she names.
This one's a little sus because Tom and I, we were very reckless and stupid. And we decided, oh my God, this is really embarrassing. But basically, Tom and I snuck off. I don't even know if I want to see these details, but basically, Tom and I were cuddling in the social media room, which is downstairs of their house. And there was a party going on. And Ariana's best friend, Logan Cochran, walked into the social media room and he was like, "Oh, okay." And we were just cuddling on the floor. We were clothed and everything. There wasn't a blanket or anything. It was just us looking at each other because it was stupid. I thought I was in love. But Logan walked in on us and then he's like, "Oh, I'm really messed up. Okay, bye." And then left. And he's Ariana's best friend. So I'm sure that that got back to Ariana. Logan definitely had to have some sort of suspicion that this was going on. Because why else would we be cuddling? That's weird. Logan is also really close with Brad. I don't think Brad really knew the extent of it, but I'm sure as things started coming out, it was easy to piece these things together.
Now, I did see a post from Logan that I would like to show you guys regarding this. So as you can see, it comes from your new fave Bravo page, but it was from Logan and his response to Rachel's podcast. And it says, "So Rachel suggested I knew about the affair on her podcast today. First, ew, no, I did not know. Second, I don't believe in lying to my friends or withholding important information from them. I believe they should know. Maybe that works for some others, but not for me. My friendship with Ariana is very near and dear to me, and I will protect it at all costs. I share everything with her. The good, the bad, and yes, even what Rachel mentioned on her podcast today. Oh, very interesting. That said, my perspective at the time was not that those two were up to anything nefarious. The incident Rachel recounted today was such a non-event to me at the time, not because I knew or was complicated. Come on, y'all. They invited me into their weird little cuddle puddle after I walked in the room. But because I wasn't close at the time with the people, casting doubt and making others question everything, I just thought we were all good friends. I learned the same day Ariana did. Now please go rogue elsewhere. Logan." And this is what I mean with she can't assume people knew about something when they didn't. Just because it was obvious to her that she was fucking Tom does not mean it was obvious to other people. And like he said, at the time, he didn't think anything of it. He thought it was just a weird fucking cuddle puddle, and they invited him into it. They thought everyone was just really good friends. When you have trust in your partner, you trust them 100%. You trust them around others. You trust other people around them, especially people you consider your best friend or your friends, things like that. And you don't think things like that are going on, especially when there should be no need to think that. So for them to question it, then yeah, that makes it like, okay, first off, what the fuck? Do you not trust me? Or like, what the fuck? Why would you think that? And then you'd have to explain, well, you were cuddling, you're too close, you're too this, you're too that. It I don't know. We know how Tom is. Tom was very affectionate around other people, with other people, even fucking Schwartz. So to think that, yeah, would be kind of weird because he was just that type of a person. But clearly, there was more going on than we all thought. And it came out after the fact. So for her to sit there and assume that people were aware is on her. So when these people come back saying, listen, bitch, I had no fucking idea, is she going to apologize? Or take accountability saying, maybe I shouldn't have assumed, but I thought, like, this is, like, you should have known? No. No. Sorry, girl. Sorry.
So when I went to St. Louis, I've met Tom's mom before when she came to LA, but this time it was different because he was like bringing me to the house. It honestly felt like I was his girlfriend. Like it was the weirdest thing because obviously I wasn't. He had a girlfriend, but he like brought me to his mom's house and we made food and I slept downstairs in their like basement area and his mom like had the Christmas tree up and I mean it was weird. The way that Tom would present things made it feel so normal. So then it's like, oh, maybe I am overthinking this and like he had a way to convince me that it's all fine and to normalize it and to like relieve stress. And then we would also drink a lot. So that would help relieve the stress too. But yes, Tom Sandoval's mom also knew. And I think that's a really messed up position to put your mom in because, you know, now she's keeping this secret for her son. But I think she also knew that Tom and Ariana haven't been good for quite some time. There was like a conversation that was had, you know, Ariana hasn't come to St. Louis in years and this isn't to excuse it either because Tom needed to like make that public that they were no longer in a relationship. But yeah, there was trouble in paradise there.
I can't believe she actually brought his mom into this. Like, we knew that she went with him to St. Louis around Christmas, all of that. But her excuses are just that, excuses. Just because Ariana hadn't been to St. Louis in a long time doesn't mean anything. Just because their relationship was up and down doesn't mean anything. Like, we don't know what Tom told his mom. We don't know if his mom really knew the situation at hand, if she knew that Tom was having an affair with Rachel or any of that. We don't. She is, again, assuming. And she is either assuming wrong or assuming correctly. We do not know. I will say this too. I did look at Max's IG just to see if he had a comment, and he did. So this is what was on his IG story. It says, this girl just can't shut up and take accountability. So also, we're still talking about this. What the fuck? And then at the bottom, it says, really curious what her platform will be about once she's beat this into the fucking ground. I'm so bored. And if you look in the middle, it's just like her dialogue of who she was blaming in her podcast. So I wanted to make sure you guys saw that as well. It doesn't give us any indicators if he knew or not. I'm assuming, like I assumed, like she's assuming, but my assumptions are probably better than hers, that he didn't see anything that really gave an indicator there was an affair happening. He maybe saw some flirting, maybe saw some, like, Tom being, you know, sentimental and touchy-feely flirty, Like he always is, and that was it. My assumptions are better than her assumptions. But the difference is, I'm not saying that they actually knew. She is stating they knew. It's crazy to me. Let me know what you guys think about all of this down below.
That concludes my list. There's no reason to be protecting these people anymore. I think they can all handle it. I think the worst of Scandoval has already come and gone, and we are all stronger for it. I think there's power in owning up to what we know and not hiding it anymore. It's freeing.
Before we go further, I think she's forgetting at least one person that I'm aware of that knew about this affair as well on this list. What about Joe? Like, nothing against Joe, but Joe knew. Joe was with them at Big Bear in January when the boys went on a ski trip and then Rachel and Joe showed up. So why is Joe not on this list? If you can think of any other names that you think maybe had some kind of inkling besides, Lala, who had that assumption, and Allie, who were all right about their assumptions, let me know down below in the comments.
All right, let's switch gears into episode 8 of Vanderpump Rules. I thought it was a pretty boring episode, to be honest. And but we got our crossover, we got our transition into the valley. Very exciting. That show just seems like it's going to be a mess also, but I guess that's what the people want. But overall, I thought the episode was pretty boring, and that's not me like hating, it's just how I felt. A few things stood out to me. First was the Never Have I Ever game. Second was Tom's journal entry and crying to Tom Schwartz. And then, oh, and the pool party. Let's talk about the sexy singles pool party. Watching it now, being so removed from the situation, it's like the audacity of Tom Sandoval to have these girls over. How disgusting. And then I remind myself that I was that girl. And how frustrating that is to me, just knowing that that was me at one point.
First off, I don't think that this week's episode was boring at all. I think it told a very interesting story about what's to come and what we are going to see, and it's only going to get better from here. It was kind of, maybe a filler episode, but I don't think it was boring at all. She's just in her, like, I hate Vanderpump because I'm not on Vanderpump. We already know this. Anyways, the audacity of Sandoval to have a sexy single party after what? She blocked him, cut him off, and hasn't talked to him? The audacity. Girl, you could be going out there living your best life too, meeting guys, doing whatever you want to do too. He is handling his hurt and everything he's been through in his own way. And if that is kind of an awkward, weird pool party, that's on Tom Sandoval. You do you, boo. Let him do him. You don't care, but you care? Make it make sense.
But I just feel like he is so shameless with it, and that he thinks it's, like, funny to joke about being roommates with his ex as a way to break the ice. Yeah, those girls did not look like they were feeling it. I saw some people, like, commenting, like, "Why is Tom crossing his legs and sitting like that?" I think physiology-wise, that is something that guys do to hide their excitement, if you know what I'm saying. I also find it ironic that Tom is working overtime to make it seem like he is so out of practice and needs to start flexing this muscle of being single and picking up girls because he hasn't done that in so long.
So she thinks that he was crossing his legs because he was excited and he was trying to hide, well, his boner? Does that make any sense? Like, well, maybe she knows something we don't know. I mean, she was having an affair with him for 7 months, so maybe she does know something we don't know. But I think she's just being a little ridiculous and kind of being a little petty because she's mad he had a sexy singles party when she already dismissed him and blocked him and had cut the ties. She makes no sense.
But we all know while I was in Meadows, he was seeing other girls. One of the girls went on Howie Mandel's podcast and kind of explained the timeline of how that went down. What people may not realize is that when I was in the Meadows and Tom was, trying to get me to leave, he was calling me selfish for taking care of my needs, and he felt like he was coming second and that I wasn't attentive to what his needs were. Oh, so frustrating. But basically, I told him, like, look, you haven't been single in a very long time. It's been over 10 years, actually more than that, because before he was serious with Ariana, he was dating Kristen, and that relationship was over 2 years, right? So it's been a very long time since he's been single. And I was working on myself and I was realizing that I had this thing called love addiction and that like it's probably best for me not to date other people this time. So I kind of gave him the green light, like, go ahead, date other people. I feel like it's important for you to do that because A, you need to get it out of your system. B, you know, get your needs met because I'm not there to help meet your needs. And I was also hoping that he wouldn't be as attached to me and I would have more space because he was very suffocating with his demand for attention and validation. So I encouraged him. I encouraged him to date other girls. But then, these photos started surfacing. I guess one photo was taken before we had that conversation. It doesn't matter really, but it just kind of shows that he wasn't actually saving himself for me like he's presenting.
Again, 1 minute she's saying, oh, it's okay. I was telling him to go out and date other people and fulfill your needs because we weren't together. She didn't want to date him, but then she's mad that he was going out and talking to other people, going on dates, whatever the fuck he was doing. Again, those are more just red flags popping up in her face, and she should have took it for what it was. And I think that she did at that point, and that's when she just said, I'm done, cut him off, block, that's it. But then why is she so upset now? I do also want to bring you a clip from the Howie Mandel podcast. This was when Josh Peck was on there. He had new information on Scandoval, which he brought in Olivia, which I believe Olivia works for Howie, and they kind of just talked to her about how she dated Sandoval and how it all went down. So let's take a peek at that clip. If this is something you would like me to cover, let me know down below. I definitely am very much considering covering this entire podcast with Howie because it was very telling. This one clip is just a little bit of details to a lot more that is exposed.
But I do research. I mean, I know stuff. There's a girl sitting right there that dated him.
Wow.
Can I say that?
What a fun revelation that is.
She did.
Is
Olivia.
she going to allow you to
Olivia,
say this?
come here.
Olivia,
come
say
here.
more.
Oh, no.
There's a microphone right here, Olivia.
She did. Go ahead.
Recently, right?
Sit right there.
This
Sit
is a
right
great
there.
episode.
Yeah, sit right there.
Olivia,
you got
thank you
Lala.
for being here.
I
Thank you for
got
being here.
Olivia, who actually, and I didn't know this was going to happen, but move the mic closer to you.
Oh my God, am I gonna get in trouble for this?
I don't know. We can
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
How are you?
Do you have any questions for her?
Yeah. Wait. Okay. What years did you guys date? First of all, let's build a timeline. We're building a timeline.
All right. First of all, we did not date. It was in nowhere remotely dating.
Your parents are here too in the other room.
Yeah.
What was it?
We just met out and hung out a couple times for like a month. But yeah, no, it was not
Hung
a
out a
relationship.
couple times for a. Well, it's not a relationship, but you
No.
went out with him.
It's a
When?
friendship.
Pre Ariana.
No.
No, post Ariana.
Wow.
In the midst of all this.
Post Ariana, during Raquel. Someone cut to Howie. Someone cut to Howie. Oh my.
No, it was
No, after Raquel. After Raquel.
It was after Raquel.
Well, Raquel, he was still claiming that Raquel was in the picture. Raquel was just in some sort of lockdown.
Yeah, Raquel was in the lockdown. Yeah, I honestly don't even know.
you go
that-
perfect.
While she was being locked down, you were locking it up.
Oh my God.
Hanging in.
No, you guys. I honestly don't even know how that happened, but I guess it just kind of did. So I know him well enough. Like, I'd consider him a distant friend at this point.
When is the last time you guys
Well,
communicated?
he has a girlfriend. now, doesn't
He has a girlfriend now. Yeah, we were gonna meet up for dinner.
Yesterday.
We were gonna meet up for dinner
Tonight.
Yeah, no, we were gonna meet up for, or like, we were going to, and then he gave me the like, oh, I've been super busy, so we never ended up meeting up, and then I haven't heard from him since then, and that was like a few weeks ago.
Oh, just a few weeks ago.
Well, and then I found out that he had a girlfriend, so I was like, okay.
But
makes
he didn't
sense.
tell you, right?
No, he didn't tell me.
Oh my
I
God,
don't know.
Tom was going to cheat? That's terrible.
Has he learned nothing?
Oh my God, you guys! I feel so on the spot right now.
Did you? So you guys, and tell me if I'm asking too much. Perhaps had like a romantic interlude.
If the shoe fits, we'll say that. If the shoe fits.
That's a yes.
What size shoe does he wear?
I
He
don't
seems
know.
like a 9. He's like a 9.5.
Yeah,
Are you
no.
shy because your parents are watching?
I don't know. I was not expecting to get called in here.
Neither was I. I wasn't
prospecting.
expecting to talk about Bravo.
Me
Well,
either.
wait, go ahead. He's a podcaster. He can ask all the questions. You guys got another exclusive on my fucking podcast.
This is fascinating.
This is so flamboyant.
Oh God. Yeah.
So you guys met out. It wasn't like a dating app thing.
No,
or
I was literally out at the club, and there
club?
he is. I was at Warwick, and it was
Okay.
a Wednesday, so
So
it was in
Wednesday
the
at Warwick.
summer. Yeah.
And it's in the summer. Go ahead.
It was in the summer, yep. And someone was like, oh, this guy thinks you're cute. And I was like, who is it? And then it ended up being Tom. And then, yeah, I don't know. One thing
No,
led to another.
keep going.
Yep. One thing led to another.
Did you
and
know
then-
who he was?
Yeah, I knew who he was, but like I had just started watching Vanderpump. So I was like on season like 3. So I was pretty new to everything, but I still knew who he was because of the whole Scandoval thing. So
And that's what drew you to him.
no. To be fair, I was like 4 vodka Red Bulls deep. Like,
Every single time within the few months?
I don't know.
Listen, I'm not condoning what Tom Sandoval was doing. I do think, though, Rachel cutting him off, not talking to him after she went into the meadows, was a clear indication, though, she was done. And he could take that however he wants and move on from there. I think that he himself should have not moved on as fast. I think he has a lot of work to do still. And he's the type, he's already gone from one relation to the next relationship, was in a relationship while having another relationship. He needs some time to figure out himself. I think he hasn't had time in all of the years he's been with other people that he needs to take time for himself. Is he going to? Probably not. However, he can choose to heal whatever wounds he has from his actions the way he chooses. Doesn't necessarily mean it'll be right or that others would do the same. It's just how Tom Sandoval is handling the situation. I think it was very telling. I think Olivia was very honest and upfront. And it's interesting that he didn't tell her that he had a new girlfriend. She had to find out after they were supposed to meet up for dinner, and then it never happens. I think good for Olivia for not dating Sandoval, though even having a little bit of knowledge about Scandoval and at least seeing up to season 3, that would have been like, no, thank you. But some people are also in it for the fame and attention. And I'm not saying that she's one of those girls, but you know, some people find it attractive and find it, you know, the way to go to get in. And if that's her deal, that's her deal. I think she's a very beautiful woman from everything that we've seen here in the clip. I just think she could do a lot better than Sandoval too. And she seems young, and I think the red flags were there for her as well. And I'm glad that she didn't end up with him. You know what I mean?
I feel like he's kind of doing this revisionist history of trying to get back into the dating scene. And, oh, he's so out of practice when we all know that he's been doing this. Let's go back to the Never Have I Ever game. This part of the episode was a little disturbing to me just because the show is publicly shaming me for something that I did not do. They're pushing this narrative that, oh, apparently I abandoned my dog in the middle of nowhere because I didn't want it anymore, which is not true. And this is like the continued propaganda against me, which I can say I'm not surprised, but it still infuriates me. So basically, Allie had a card that said, "Never have I ever dropped my pet off in the middle of nowhere because I didn't want it." And it's like, A, is that card actually a card in the game? Please let me know. B, I just feel like that is so gross and messed up to keep pushing this narrative and then being like, "Oh, it's just a game," and not taking any responsibility for that. It's really disgusting. So, shame on you, Bravo. And, 2 can play that game.
So I went back. I looked to make sure I had the right game box that they were playing with. I even checked as many cards, samples of the game, people that have videos that they describe the game, how to play it, just to see if I could find any cards that said that. So far, no luck. But there were cards like never have I ever given beer or hard liquor to a cat or dog. Never have I ever fought over a pet with an ex. Never have I ever talked to my pet about my problems, along with lots of other examples of this game. And this game is this game right here, the Never Have I Ever, the game of poor life decisions. If you've ever played this game, if you know that this card exists, I do know in this game that they do have blank cards where it's never have I ever, and then you can make up what you want. I don't necessarily see Allie like having a fill in the blank card and saying that. She doesn't seem like the type. She's a sweet girl. I know she likes to joke around here and there. I just don't see her doing that. Do I think that this is a card in the game? I do. So with Rachel sitting there saying, they are constantly making me seem like I gave up my dog and they are doing this to make me look bad on purpose is just insane. I don't think that the Never Have I Ever game had anything to do with her. I don't think that they made questions up just to get back at Rachel, or even like Evolution and Bravo being like, here's a Never Have I Ever question. You should totally ask this one. Like, I don't see that happening. I think she is too wrapped up in her own mind that she thinks that everything has to do about her. I don't know. What do you guys think? If you guys own this game, please let me know if there is a card that says that. If you don't, I might just have to buy it for fun game nights, as well as doing our due diligence and seeing if this was a set up question to make Rachel look bad. Let me know what you guys think down below.
Never have I ever shown my love for someone by putting a ring on a string. Never have I ever thrown a fit over pasta. Never have I ever worn a crop top to my own wedding. Never have I ever told my boss to suck a dick. Never have I ever done a remake of my own song and made a screamo version of it. Never have I ever body shamed someone and told them that they haven't been working on their summer bodies. Never have I ever gotten my ass tattooed. Never have I ever called somebody a crackhead, especially when they weren't. Never have I ever told Lisa Vanderpump that Vanderpump Rules was my show.
Oh, you know I have a lot to say about this. But instead, I'm going to give you a little Instagram video from Coca Mama Coca. I will link her Instagram down below so you can check her out. But I think she said it beautifully for all of us. So here it is.
Are you genuine, heartfelt question? Are you fucking serious right now?
Never have I ever.
Wrong road. My stance on Rachel Raquel Bambi's podcast has not changed since she launched it, which was that I was only going to cover it if she said something that was like new information that we really wanted to know. This episode that she most recently put out today, what I really wanted to talk about was her Never Have I Ever segment. She proceeded to attempt to drag other cast members for things they have done as like a reference to the last episode where they played Never Have I Ever in Ariana's living room. I don't know what she was trying to convey, but baby, no. I guess this is what happens when she doesn't have the like nameless iHeart producer to like prompt her with questions. She really is going rogue, I guess. Now she's just talking, and this is what she has come up with. I am going to go through that with, you know, my handy dandy receipts to be like, are you fucking serious? Wrong road.
Never have I ever shown my love for someone by putting a ring on a string.
No, but you know what you did do?
Hook up with someone's boyfriend in their own house. They've gone out of town, especially for like a funeral of all things.
Never have I ever thrown a fit over pasta.
I mean, you did file a restraining order that you claim to have regret for doing.
I completely regret filing the restraining order.
And also you ordered a cheeseburger with the cheese. And wondered if the Pope had a balcony, but that's, you know what? That's minimal.
Never have I ever worn a crop top to my own wedding.
But you did wear a whale tail multiple times, including to meet a cast member's mother who you later yelled at. And also at someone else's wedding, forget about your own, at someone else's wedding, you had sex with one of the bridesmaids, partners. So, and multiple times. But you know, not your own. It wasn't your wedding.
Never have I ever told my boss to suck a dick. Never have I ever done a remake of my own song.
You didn't tell Lisa to suck a dick or do a remake of your own song, but you did go on a podcast with an unhinged Bravo vendetta psychopath lady named Schmethany Schmenkel. And you launched a podcast on the same network that she's on, and literally this is all you talk about.
Never have I ever body shamed someone and told them that they haven't been working on their summer bodies.
You didn't body shame. You did call someone multiple times a mistress bimbo.
Mistress bimbo vibes.
I'm mixing up two people. Lala was the mistress bimbo. Katie, you continue to pursue her then actually still husband, because they weren't divorced yet, and then proceed to get mad at her about it. And then, you know, Tom Sandoval. So
Obviously, I'm not a big bitch. I agree.
Never have I ever told Lisa Vanderpump that Vanderpump Rules is my show.
You didn't tell Lisa Vanderpump that it was your show, but you did demand the same salary as two principal cast members who have been on the show, one of them since season 1 and one of them since season 2. Actually, technically, Ariana was on in season 1 as Hina's background dancer.
I asked for equal pay with Tom and Ariana, and for them to reimburse me for my treatment expenses.
I fucking threw their lives into turmoil. You better pay me the same. And also this affair happened off camera. You didn't even show me in the middle of the affair with us knowing that you were recording us during the affair. So reimburse me for my mental health treatment, which I went to voluntarily as a result of my own direct actions. Thanks. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? Let me know. It's comprehensive enough to be like, don't ever fucking play this game with your audience again. Don't do it. Don't fucking do it.
All right, let's switch gears a little bit. I want to get into some headlines because as we're talking about the Valley, one of the headlines that came out recently was from Us Weekly. Jax Taylor wants Raquel Leviss to get a real job. Hopes she'll stay away from the Valley. I just think it's very ironic, first of all, that Jax Taylor wants me to get a real job when he also has a podcast and is on a reality TV show. It almost seems like they're really pushing to have my name and the Valley in the same headline story to make it seem more controversial. Like, ooh, the Valley, like, ooh, is Rachel really considering going to the Valley? No, I'm not, by the way. So you don't need to worry about that. And also, don't tell me to get a real job when my job is literally the exact same as your job. That doesn't make sense. And I'm not going to listen to you. Bye.
So I will link the US Weekly article down below so you all can look at it yourself. But I'm just going to read a little snippet of it. So it starts off with, Jax Taylor has some advice for Raquel Leviss in the aftermath of her affair with Tom Sandoval. She needs to get a real job. She's doing everything she can now besides get a real job, Taylor, 44, exclusively told Us Weekly at the Thursday, March 14th premiere party for Bravo's The Valley at Jax Jax's Studio City. So this was all done at the premiere party of the Valley. Kind of why the Valley kind of fits in. Jax noted that he wanted nothing to do with Leviss, 29, adding, "I think Rachel needs to disappear for a while, try to figure out who she is as a person, because I think she got lost in the light a little bit. I think she got caught up in the whole fame of it all." And I kind of hate to say it, but, like, Jax is kind of, he's usually right about everybody. Like, though he is a douchebag, he is usually right about people and, like, how he perceives them. He continued, "It spiraled out of control on her, and like I said, I think she needs to stay away from it. I don't think it was for her." And I hate to say it, that's exactly what I've been saying. I think it got to her a little bit. I don't think that this is for her, and I don't think that there is a future in reality TV for her. So what is her next step? It goes into about how the affair started, yada, yada, yada. You know how articles are. It then says, at the time, Jax called Sandoval out for having lack of empathy, saying it's tone deaf the way whoever his team is, the way he's speaking about the whole situation, which was all facts. Jax has since worked out his issues with Sandoval after they filmed a scene for season 11 of Vanderpump Rules, which served as a transition to the first episode of The Valley, where we see VPR alums, Jax Taylor, Brittany Cartwright, Kristen Doty lead the cast of the spinoff series. Everyone has made mistakes, especially on Vanderpump Rules. He cheated on Ariana. It's been a year now. I feel like it's time to move on, Jax added on Thursday. She's happy. Clearly, she's doing very well. She has a new boyfriend. It's time to stop talking about Scandoval. There are a lot of other things to talk about, like the Valley. And then it goes into what the Valley's about, who the new stars are, and yada, yada, yada. Like I said, this was an article that was written to, yes, entice people. It wasn't Bravo and Evolution saying, hey, you need to write about this. They were there at a premiere party. He made a comment. I mean, if you don't know how articles work, usually also, like, the journalists will ask questions, say, like, how do you feel about this situation? Or what are you feeling about this? What are you feeling about that? Then they write their article from there. They can exclude things. They can include things. This is how that flow of that article went. It has nothing to do with Jax, has nothing to do with Bravo or Evolution. Did he say what he said? He did. And it wasn't as bad as the title made it seem. And honestly, I don't see where he said that she hopes to stay away from the Valley. Let me know what you guys think about this article. I will link it, like I said, down below for you. It's a U.S. Weekly article. That's how I see it. If anything, she's trying to link herself to the Valley. What do you guys think?
Another headline that's a little bit more serious and a little difficult for me to talk about because it is personal. Radar Online had posted a video of James Kennedy getting kicked out of the Canyon Club, and some of the Bravo sites have reposted it, and the amazing internet sleuths have pieced together the clips from when I was describing this incident on Vanderpump Rules, and they put the video footage with my audio speaking over and narrating that night and what happened. But basically, if you haven't seen it, it's a video of James allegedly yelling at Ali, security coming over and telling him that he needs to leave immediately. I think the reason why security got involved in the first place was because he allegedly grabbed Ali's arm, and they were like, no, that's not acceptable. So they kicked him out. And in the video, you can see us having a conversation, checking in with Ali, seeing if she was okay, and just James allegedly yelling at her and yelling at everyone to leave them alone.
Now, I will say that I did check out Radar Online. I got the video, all of that. I did also search for these internet sleuths, that she speaks of that piece the video together with her describing what happened that night. Could not find that at all. And I am subscribed to and following a lot of Vanderpump fan accounts and things like that. So I don't know where she saw that, but I did see another video of somebody talking about the incident, the video itself that Radar all of a sudden uncovered after a whole year almost, and what was described to have happened. I will also say that in this article, nowhere does it says that he grabbed Allie's arm. This is still something that Rachel has claimed, but nobody else has. It talks about how Scheana was there and how you could see Allie in the clip. And at one point during the evening, the two appeared to argue. And it also says, I didn't say anything though. She could be heard chiming in. There is a lot of loud music in this clip, so I do want to link it down below for you guys, but I am going to play the TikTok that I did find where the girl describes everything for you. So here it is.
I think we heard about James having some sort of aggressive outburst at a gas station last year in Vanderpump. And I don't know if we ever saw a clip until now, but a clip has officially been posted. I'm not going to show the clip, but I did take some screenshots. So let's go over what appears to be happening here. What it looked like to me is like James was set up DJing at some sort of bar and then proceeds to get into a confrontation with this guy right here. Now, it's so loud in there with the music that we don't hear what this confrontation is over, but afterwards, Allie stays put and talks for another second to this guy. I'm not sure if something was said that made James upset, another guy talking to Allie, and she was after kind of like, okay, like, sorry, like, just like, stop talking to me. I don't know if she was like trying to figure things out for him because an issue happened while he was working, got too drunk. I have no idea. But you see James point over there very angrily at him. Then he's outside and basically like chest to chest with Allie, and they're having a heated conversation. This is just my guess from somebody who's been out to the bar with tons of their girlfriends. This body language is giving, somebody came up, said something inappropriate, Allie let it go, James didn't. She's basically like, knock it off, or like says something. And then James walks away upset for a minute, and she's standing there talking with Scheana. Then Rachel is there too. Brock is in the background, as you can see. It either feels like a situation with that guy, or it feels like a situation with Rachel. I'm not sure. What I can say is you can find this clip on radar.com. It doesn't show anything physical in the clip. It's also very loud.
And I just think it's interesting because it wasn't that long ago that everyone seemed to have been talking about James and the alleged abuse allegations that were coming up. And for the past few weeks, it's been like radio silence. I don't know. I just feel like there's no reason in holding anything back anymore. I think everything comes to light with time. I mean, here's another incident that is similar to the situation that Teddy and Tamara described on their podcast, the interaction that they had with James and Allie in the backseat of the car on the way to Tom Tom. And there was some sort of alleged altercation that happened. And here we have like actual video footage and me explaining it, how it happened that first time.
I think it's interesting that Rachel brings up the Teddy Mellencamp and Tamara Judd incident because Radar Online also has that in their article as well, talking about how back in February, Allie had shut down claims then that James was abusive towards her because of Tamara and Teddy talking about how they think it was about 2 years now after the MTV Movie Awards, and she said that they were heading to an after party at Tom Tom, and during the car ride, there was an altercation between two people in the car, which made her and Teddy have to get out of the car. Now, this was all also discussed on Scheana's podcast. It also says there are rumors flying around that Teddy might have hinted at an altercation between you and James, which Scheana continued to talk to Allie about the incident, which Allie denied. Allie has insisted there was never a physical altercation, admitting they did get into an argument in the car, but they were having fun during an episode of the Shenanigans podcast. So I don't know what that tells you all. I just think that she's a little bitter, Rachel that is, that people have talked about this, allegations have been shut down, and she's kind of just a little butthurt that no one is focusing their attention on James and these allegations like they have been with her in the affair. That's just what I see. What do you guys see?
Another headline this week, this was something that was picked up a lot by the blogs, was Katie Maloney's tweet saying that she'll light Joe on fire with me. Basically, she says, Joe is spooky. I mean, none of us could stand to be around her. Her energy is on par with a crackhead. She is a psycho, and I will also light her on fire with Rachel.
So I had to stop her because she has a lot of things wrong. First off, it wasn't a tweet. If you're going to repeat something, kind of get it right. It was a comment that was left on a fan account, aka Real Vanderpump, where they were speculating that Tom was secretly dating Joe last year. That's how long ago this Instagram post was. And yes, they did highlight it in the episode for us to see. But she also left out a lot of details. So, as you can see, it says, Joe is spooky. I mean, none of us could stand to be around her. Her energy is on par with a crackhead. But when Tom and I announced our divorce almost a year ago, the last thing she texted me was, Beaver loves you. I love you. And I'm so supporting of your inner thoughts and visions. Live in the moment. You're a gem. And I've always respected you. I love you. XO, Joe. And then it says, she's a psycho, and I will also light her on fire with Rachel. Because if you recall what was going on, well, March 20th of 2023, like I said, a year ago, they had all just found out about this affair. And Schwartz was also denying that he was seeing Joe, that they were living together, that they were dating and all of that. And Katie kind of felt betrayed that someone she thought of as a friend would sit here and say, I'm supportive of everything you're going through, and then be hooking up with her, at that point, still husband, though they were getting divorced, and all of that. And then Joe also, like I said, knew about this affair, though she didn't name her as a name in the beginning. Joe knew about this, because in January of 2023, they were at Big Bear together. So how did she not know when it was just the Toms, Joe, and Rachel? Interesting, right? I just love how she tries to throw shade, but she's not accurate with her throwing of the shade.
So she's really doubling down on lighting people on fire. And I think this is dangerous because there are some psycho crazy people out there in the world that will actually do this stuff. And it's like she's giving people the go ahead to do that. If this was an employee in any other work environment, this person would be terminated effective immediately for inciting violence. So keep that in the back of your mind. Also, Joe is a lovely girl who I love her energy and I love being around her. So that is not an accurate statement to begin with.
Oh, so because Joe is a lovely person and you think she's great, that's why you didn't name her as one of the people that knew about your affair going on? Interesting, Rachel. This just shows us even more that you're willing to throw people under the bus that you don't like or you have an issue with. But the people that you do, you'll cover their ass and say, oh, they're such a great person. And I don't think that Jo isn't a great person. I think she's quirky. She has her own personality. She's unique. She seems like a sweetheart in that sense. But I also think that if she knew about this, she should be saying like, hey, this isn't right. Or like saying to your friend, hey, you shouldn't be sleeping with your other friend's boyfriend. I don't know what Jo has said to Rachel or if they ever did have a conversation about this, but it would be interesting to know and hear. You know what I mean? But hey, she had not a problem throwing everybody else under the bus but Jo. That's interesting. And I also don't think that Katie's saying that she will light her on fire like she is or wants to Rachel, whatever the quote is. I don't think that's her way of telling crazy people, hey, go light these bitches on fire. That's not what that meant at all. And here you go, trying to turn a narrative into something that it's not, so you're the victim, Rachel.
Let's switch again back to episode 8 of Vanderpump Rules. Tom Schwartz comes over to the house and Tom Sandoval is writing in his journal and he's explaining how he stopped drinking alcohol because he knew I couldn't drink alcohol. And he's writing in his journal because he knows that I've been writing in my journal and it's a way for us to connect to each other. And before you guys get all mushy and soft on Tom Sandoval, I need to remind you that this person did not love me. And as much as he is trying to convince you that he did, he absolutely did not. And I know this with every single fiber in my being. And he is playing into this just to get your guys' sympathy card.
I love that she has to remind us that Tom is only playing into this to pull on our heartstrings, to feel bad for him. Now, I do think that he does have some kind of emotion regarding Rachel where he did feel a connection and he was hurt when she kind of, well, cut him off and burned him and all of that. And he's going through his emotions. He ruined a 9-year relationship to be with this person that he thought he loved and that she loved him and yada, 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 and all of that. He gave up a lot for Rachel, whether she believes that he was doing it for himself or doing it just to do it. I do think that he cared greatly about her. And I do think that he is going through the emotions of the grief from everything that he himself has put himself through. No one to blame but himself. And whether he stopped drinking for her and started journaling because she was, I do believe that was the best choice for him. Whether he did it for her or not, he needed those moments of sobriety and those moments to put everything that he was thinking and feeling down into thought on a page. That helps anybody. So for her to look down upon him doing these things just because he said that he was doing them for her and she doesn't believe it, doesn't necessarily mean it's not a step in the right direction. Not saying that he's stepping in the right direction completely, but it was a step to help him grieve the process of everything that he's been going through. And I do truly think that he cared for Rachel more than she really can see. And that's fine because she has classified him as a narcissist, a groomer, all of these things. That's her right to feel that way. But it's clear to see that there were more emotions there for him than she really maybe had seen. And she's kind of making fun of him for having those emotions when she herself were going through those emotions during the affair. So it takes people time. I don't know. Not sticking up for him at all. I'm just stating the facts.
I am not falling for it. This person did not want me to get mental health treatment. He did not want me to better myself. He wanted to keep me under his control, and he was doing everything in his power to have power over me. Also, have you noticed when Tom Sandoval cries, he is crying up against a wall, away from the camera, because these are not actual tears. He is not a good actor. There's a reason why he has failed in acting, and I am not falling for this BS. So I hope you guys aren't either. When Tom Sandoval is showing Schwartz these photos that were taken at Tom Schwartz's apartment, love that they have to blur my face, by the way. You can see that he's, acting super torn up about it. Maybe there is a part of him that is grieving the relationship, but I think the the usage of words when he says, "I will never have this again." I feel like it's a dig at Ariana because he seems to be grieving the relationship that he had with me more than he's shown any grief towards the relationship that he had with Ariana. B, the way that Tom Sandoval and Tom Schwartz were talking about, "Oh, I'll never have this again." It seemed like Tom was, quote unquote, mourning the relationship or the concept of our love connection instead of like actually mourning the loss of me because, you know, Tom Schwartz was like, "No, you'll have this again." Clearly, he's not gonna have me again. I think that just further supports the concept that he is in love with the idea of being in a relationship, not necessarily it being me.
Isn't this the same girl that was trying to justify the affair by the fact that he was over Ariana? Their relationship was already over. They were already going two different paths, and he just needed to break up with her. So why would he be grieving the loss of Ariana when he had already in his mind separated with her when he got with Rachel, which clearly she was saying the same thing until this episode. Which, please, bitch, she does not need your sympathy at all. I do have to give it to Rachel, though. I will say he is a bad actor, and clearly that's why he's in the closet crying and up against the wall, like he was beating on the glass at Lisa Vanderpump's, season 10, all of that. So we can't see that there are no tears coming out of his eyes. That's what, a narcissist does, and he has narcissistic traits, in my opinion. I have to say that. And he's just a bad actor. I mean, clearly she got that one right. Though I will say, she's not a good actor at all herself. So why is she dissing on him when she herself isn't any better? Just saying. And don't worry, Rachel, unlike you, we will not fall for Sandoval's, traps. Because we see the patterns.
Just something to point out. And you can see like the manipulation that is happening between the cast because you see how Scheana really wants to be friends with Tom Sandoval. And she's trying to, quote unquote, help Tom take accountability so that the cast will be more forgiving to him. In that scene at the Belmont, she mentioned something about me cutting Tom out of my life. And she was like, "Hey, have you considered that maybe you really did hurt this person?" And then she's like, "And let's talk about Katie. You had a role in the demise of that relationship that Katie had with Schwartz." And then you see Tom Sandoval disassociate. He does not want to hear what Scheana is telling him. I think Scheana did bring up a good point about hurting me, but I think she lost him when she like pulled Katie into it too. And he's like, "All right, no, this is not the conversation I'm having."
'Cause it's all about Rachel, Rachel, Rachel. Scheana made a good point when it was about her, but when it was about Katie and what happened between Katie and Schwartz and how Sandoval had a part in that, oh, she lost him. She should have not brought that up. Excuse you? I don't think you get what Sandoval did to their relationship that caused issues in it for them. You have no room to speak on that. But when it's you and you're the victim, it's okay.
But Tom said, I want to prioritize things that are important to Scheana. Cut to Tom having a conversation with Katie in the kitchen of the house. And you can see the manipulation. He does a compliment sandwich and then he apologizes. And this apology is so forced. You can just tell that it's a means to an end. He is apologizing because he knows that it'll make Scheana happier and then he'll be able to get Scheana back sooner. And then he like leaves the conversation like already walking away saying, "Oh, you look great, Katie." But you can see the manipulation. You can't fool me anymore. You can see it.
And do you think Katie was fucking fooled? No, she wasn't. She knew what Sandoval was doing. She took that with a grain of salt. Though if he wanted to apologize for hurting you, would you listen and give him the time of day, or would you act like Katie did? I think because you are so hurt, kind of like how Katie is, you would be like, this man ain't manipulating me, so say what you want. Doesn't fucking matter anyways. It's the same thing. So why are you dissing on Katie when you would feel the same exact way if you were in her shoes? Just a little food for thought. Because what Rachel doesn't get is that Katie and Sandoval and Schwartz have a long history together. And there was a lot of manipulation from Sandoval onto Schwartz that caused a lot of issues in their relationship, even before they got married till after they got married. To me, personally, I think that's way more hurtful than what Rachel went through, just because it was literally a decade long, if not more, of having to deal with your significant other having this best friend that no matter what happened, he always took his friend's side and was manipulated by everything his friend had to say. I mean, that is way more hurtful, in my opinion, having to deal with that for as long as she did. I also think that's why we also see Katie and Ariana's relationship growing closer and better and where they actually wanted to be, because they don't have their significant others in their life anymore to cause any manipulation towards their friendship. What do you guys think? Let me know down below.
I didn't think that I was going to have that much to talk about, but once I started getting into it, things just came pouring out and it's a little all over the place. So please bear with me. But one last thing that I wanted to point out, when Jax came into Tom Tom to hang out with the guys, and Tom Sandoval is talking about Katie's hatred towards me and towards Joe. And he says, well, Rachel and Joe happen to be the only girls that have quote unquote hooked up with Tom Schwartz, and Katie just like despises them, something along those lines. And I just want to say this term hooking up is so broad. And to me, hooking up means like more than kissing. So I don't appreciate Tom saying that Schwartz and I hooked up, because we absolutely did not do anything more than kiss on camera. So I don't like that narrative that he's putting out there with that either. And that's also another reason why I know that he has never loved me. So cool it with that. All right. I feel like that's a good place to end this episode. I apologize that it's a little all over the place, but I had a lot of thoughts and I appreciate your patience with me. And I will see you next time on Rachel Goes Rogue.
I don't know what generation she's in, but nowadays hooking up is different than what maybe the last generation would consider hooking up, just like dating back in the day is different than what dating means now. So by him saying that Rachel and Schwartz hooked up is not inaccurate because they were physical with each other. That's hooking up in terms nowadays. Doesn't necessarily mean they, made babies together, because I didn't want to say the sex word, but you know what I mean? Like, that term is not only confusing for people that are in relationships or seeking relationships because they don't know. Are they dating someone? Are they hooking up with someone? Are they boyfriend and girlfriend? This is something we see borderline across the board with all different shows that we watch on Bravo, let alone what we see out there in this generation nowadays. But God forbid, Rachel doesn't like the fact that Sandoval's pushing that narrative, but she also doesn't like the fact that everyone's pushed the narrative that she's had an affair with her friend's boyfriend, which is accurate. So you can't please this girl. And listen, I got some patience. I don't have patience for her nonsense. And this episode, though it was all over the place, it was, again, a lot of nonsense. Things we've already gone over, things we've already talked about, things that we already seen out in the news and the press. And she's reliving it like it just happened the other day. And her timeline of events don't always add up because she makes these timeline of events, like the whole Katie setting her on fire, that happened a year ago, literally, 20 days almost after they found out that you and Sandoval were having an affair behind Ariana's back. She had every right to be pissed the fuck off, just like everyone else, and stand up for her friend and say, I'd light you on fire. And it's a term. It doesn't mean she's actually wanting to light you on fire. It also can mean she wants to rip you apart, or AKA rip you a new asshole, as people like to say, where they go at you and they just tell you exactly what they are feeling and thinking. It's a broad statement. But we also learned a lot of other new things in this episode that I was happy to share with you. Again, all the links will be down below. Thank you for being patient with me because I had a lot of things happening on this Saturday and I thought I'd be done earlier for you guys. And I'm sorry that it's now Sunday morning that you will be getting this. But I do hope you enjoy. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and go back and hit your notification to all. I did do a live Saturday morning, and it is under members only. So if you want to become a member to my channel and check that out, that will be there for you, as well as lots more other exclusive members only options. So I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all again soon. Bye, everyone.
Wanna burn all the bridges between us.